60 years in broadcasting, if not longer. Longtime Dodger fan, legendary broadcaster Larry King joining us on the program. Good morning, Larry. How are you?
Good morning, Dan, and how are you?
I'm doing great. I hear you're on your way to the airport because you're going to go see Game 3 in Houston.
I'm in the vehicle with my two sons, and we are heading to the airport for 3, 4, and 5.
Nice. Are you hoping it goes 7?
I'm a Dodger fan. I'm hoping it goes 5. I've been through a lot of World Series, not to a lot, but through a lot. I know it's never over when until it's over. Last year, the Indians were up 3-1. Nothing is secure. Every pitch is painful. Wednesday night was one of the best and worst nights I ever had at a ballpark in my life. But that's baseball. That's why it's such a great sport. And I'm hoping if it goes, I want it to go 5 and we win. I like to win in Houston, but I really want to get back home. I think we got to definitely win one game in Houston.
How long have you had those seats behind home plate?
6, 7 years. I used to have them for every game, and then as the boys got a little older and they were away at school, we had every other game for the past 2 years. So instead of every game, we had every other game. And the playoffs and World Series.
First baseball game you ever went to?
My father died on June 9th, 1943. I was 9.5. My brother was 6.5. And my Uncle Bernie was the Yankee bullpen catcher. It was a part-time job. He would only catch at home. He had a regular job. And he took me on July, I forget the date, but July 1943, Dodgers played the Reds. We won 4-3. I'll never forget walking into Evers Field. The only description I ever had of it was Red Barber's voice, and I saw the game through his voice. And it was incredible to me how green the grass was, how brown the dirt was, the white lines. That, to me, it was huge. Evers Field, which is a small ballpark, was huge. And I fell in love. I was in love with it going in, but I fell in love ever since.
First big-time baseball player you met was who?
First big-time baseball player I met was when I'm going down to Miami to break into broadcasting. I met all the circa 1959, 60, all the Orioles. Orioles trained there.
Yeah.
So I saw guys start. I saw Murray start, Ripken, Brooks, those great Oriole teams. And I actually became an Oriole fan because when I started on the Mutual Network, I moved to Washington, and the closest team was 33 miles was Memorial Stadium. And Edward Bennett Williams, who then owned the team, was one of my best friends. I went to a lot of Oriole games, and sadly, I will admit that I rooted for the Orioles when they played the Los Angeles Dodgers and swept them in the World Series. Jim Palmer was a great friend. And, however, as soon as I moved, then I moved to Washington. In Washington for 20 years, rooted for the Orioles, went to their games, and then moved out to L.A. for the Simpson trial, stayed in L.A., got married, had 2 boys. They're now 18 and 17, both baseball players. Took them to Dodger games when they were 3 and 2, and re-romanced my love of Dodger blue.
But so you relocated to Los Angeles to do your show just because of the O.J. trial?
They brought me out here to cover the O.J. trial, and the O.J. trial was how many months?
Yeah.
My God. We did so many shows and so many panels. I knew everybody. I knew O.J., I knew the prosecutors, I knew the defense attorneys. I lived that trial. And right at the end of it, met my wife and liked Los Angeles. And CNN said, that's fine, works as well from the West Coast. They had beautiful studios in West Coast. So I stayed, and I wound up at CNN for almost 26 years.
If you give advice, and often students will ask me for advice, but is there one piece of advice for a young interviewer that you would give?
Yeah, put your ego at the door. Now that's not the fashion today. Today, too many. It's the interviewer counts more than the interviewee, which I always thought was terrible. So if you could good advice, try to ask short questions, follow up, listen to the answers, because the answer will bring you possibly the next question, and leave yourself out of it. And technically, for my style, the word "I" in an interview is irrelevant. So the way you were doing this interview, which was perfectly, Dan, had you said the new modern fashion would have been, I, Dan Patrick, saw my first game on this and this date. I went with my cousin. This team beat that team. What was yours, Larry?
Yeah.
Now, you're there every day. It's your show. You've spent 2 minutes getting an answer that you want from your guest, but you're talking about yourself. And it's the interviewer is not an I person. The interviewer is a Y person.
If I can give you one more interview, who would it be?
Well, my wish was Fidel Castro, and he passed away. I guess it would be Anna Merkel. She's the most powerful woman in Germany, the most powerful person in Germany. Germany has become a key figure in all of European settings. I would pick her. And if it were baseball, I would pick Jose Altuve, who I think is not only a remarkable person, but an absolutely flat-out remarkable athlete. I hope he doesn't get another hit in the World Series. But I have never seen someone. He's not 5'6", by the way, Dan. He's 5'5". And he is remarkable. His power, his speed, his defense. I mean, he's hands down MVP. And I don't know about you. I'll ask you a quick one.
Okay.
Are you shocked about Girardi?
No. Having been in this business, nothing shocks me. And having covered the Yankees when Billy Martin was there, nothing can shock me. I think that 10 years is probably 15 to 20 years with any other organization there. And it's an organization that's made changes before. I think Joe Girardi's actually underrated, underappreciated. And maybe the Yankees are going to find that out the hard way. He's a great man. If you said my manager can manage like it's Game 7 of the World Series every game, or he doesn't manage it like it's Game 7 of the World, I want my manager to care. I don't know why that's such a negative, and he didn't relate to these young players. How about the young players try to relate to Joe Girardi? You know, I don't know. I'm disappointed.
I think you're right.
I'm disappointed in it. I am.
I think he's going to wind up with the Nationals if that family will pay money. And by the way, we've got a great manager in L.A., Dave Roberts.
Wonderful
Not
guy.
only a super person, but a great manager. He may have overmanaged the other night, but I don't know why he took some players out with it. But he utilizes the whole lineup. You got to say that.
All right, I'm going to leave you with this. Finish this sentence. Because of the creation and popularity of social media, journalism has become what?
Worse. I think we were better off with maybe 4 networks, 5 networks. This is on the news angle. Sports and coverage. I think we were better with Huntley, Brinkley, Cronkite. I think things got covered better. I think investigative reporting was better. We get the information faster, we get it quicker, but it doesn't mean we get it better. But, however, this I've learned in my 83 years, you can't turn the clock back. It is what it is, and that's what it is. We got to live with it. I'm part of it. You're part of it. You can't knock down windmills. I will say I do this, though. I do not have a cell phone. I have a flip phone. I make calls, receive calls. I don't think I have any other need for a phone.
You and Bob Costas and Andrew Luck.
Yeah, those 3. I think Oprah just gave in and got one. I'm not sure. She didn't have one for a long time.
Hey, safe travels with the boys, and great to catch up with you again, Larry. Thank you for joining us.
Good talking to you. Always good. Thanks, Dan.
That's Larry King, longtime Dodger fan, legendary broadcaster. Been doing it a long time. And the advice that he gave you about interviewing, if this is what you want to do for a living, even if you don't want to do this for a living, if you're a boss, a CEO, you manage people, knowing how to ask questions is really important in getting the answers that you want or you hope that you're going to get. And what Larry said is what I've preached and was preached to me. Quick question, get to the point, have the person, if you're having somebody on, have them on because you want to hear what they have to say. Not, hey, let me tell you about me. Now you talk. And if you want to talk about me, that's even better.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.